And I'll start with Connor West, and what was it that swung your decision to bring him to the team?
Yeah, he wasn't far off a few weeks ago. He rolled his ankle against Subi and didn't finish off the game, so he missed a week, and we were in Melbourne for that little mini hub, which he did a bit of scrimmage work. So we just needed him to get through another game. And he's exactly what we're looking for at the moment. You know, he's puts good pressure on the ball. He's tenacious, likes to tackle, deserves to play, and he's already a favourite around the club with his work ethic. So, yeah, really pleased that he's playing and he gets to debut for the club.
Where does he line up? Does he line up in the midfield or does he go to a half forward?
Yeah, we need to look at, we're sort of exploring a few things at the moment with just where we're heading. So, you know, we've traditionally had a lot of role-driven areas of our game, so trying to fit an extra mid in or a bit more youth, and they might be in different positions at stages, but we're going to try and get him around the ball. Might be a bit in the forward line as well.
Would his tackling presence in the midfield be a welcome addition to the team?
Yeah, like I said, his intensity is something that's impressed us. So it's pretty dynamic around the ball as well. So without putting too much pressure on him, you know, he's going to come in and just play his role. But yeah, he's someone we're looking for.
What about the fact just the ability to cover the ground, run two ways?
Yeah, that's obviously there's you know, we're working on that with our senior boys, just trying to get that conditioning, and I don't think they're too far off, but he complements that for sure.
In terms of the midfield, have you sensed the output dropping there and from the leaders, the Shueys, the Gaffs, the Yos, the Sheeds? Is that where one of the key areas is to get that spike again?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, we had 3 weeks ago where we 8 and 5 and in a pretty good position. We've been really disappointing the last 3 weeks. So, and part of that's been, you know, some of our senior players. So, and they know that the confidence has wavered a little bit, but they're trying their asses off. Right, they're really trying to get better quickly, and I think every week we've seen good signs. And that doesn't mean everything gets solved, but you know, I'm seeing effort there to try and run out 4 quarters, and they're getting fitter by the week.
Last week you said judge us on Monday, leading to North Melbourne. What have you seen, I guess, is there been a change in the mindset, anything from the lead up to North Melbourne to the Crows that gives you confidence that you can turn it around on Sunday?
I think that statement was based around effort and work rate. So as much as we're disappointed we lost in a game we think we could have won, I think we turned up the right attitude, and obviously didn't win, and it's disappointing. But you compare that to the Sydney game, I think there was a pretty big shift in mindset in that space. So that's what we're looking for. Now we're looking for 4 quarters. The season's still alive. I think we went up the ladder last night, so we're 7th. So we're still aiming and trying to play finals.
Have you tried anything different this week, Adam, to try and get that confidence up? Anything with the players, the coaches, getting everyone together?
No, not really. I mean, it was last week we looked at the way we went about things. We've been doing the same thing for a long period of time, so we need to evolve. So an opportunity presents itself in the next 5 or 6 weeks that we can explore some things. But if you do it every week, then it gets confusing. So we did a couple of things last week, minor, but we'll continue to work on those things and not try and change and reinvent the wheel every week. So getting some youth into the side in the next 4 or 5 weeks, see what they've got, maybe back them in a little bit more, give them a bit more time, look at our method. But overall, it's our intent, it's our work rate. They're the 2 things that you got to start with that before you can execute anything else.
Was this a misguided effort and intensity as well on Monday night?
Maybe, yeah. I thought we did some things that were we probably went too far one way in some areas, and that left us with less energy in other areas. But a lot of credit to North Melbourne. They hung in there in the first half, and they played a better brand in the second half.
The ball movement, you've been accused of being too safe and not
taking on,
which that's almost, ball movement's almost your brand. You know what has been. That's a good perception that people have, but we don't talk a lot about it. You know, if you don't get field position, if you can't defend well, if you're not good in the contest, the ball movement, if you've got to rely on Chris Bond or one other. Chris Bond. Bondy's back.
Anyway, so the comment around ball movement south, that's you know, it's really not the case. It might complement everything else, and it probably is the thing that stands out when we're at our best, our ability to use the ball. But trying to do that from your back pocket is really difficult. Trying to score from your back half, it's not the way the good teams play. So, you know, on the weekend we had 53 inside 50s and we had a good field position. But the 2 weeks before that, we had 35 inside 50s, and you know, so our inability to get the ball in our front half and work really hard defensively, it's been our focus. And the ball movement, we want to be brave. We do. Yeah, we're trying to get some confidence in that. Even last night, looking at Geelong, where they have 137 marks or something, but they did it in a way that had a bit of speed behind it, some really good decisions, and they're really good in the contest as well. So, yeah, I don't think we should just be focusing on what we do with the ball.
When you watch a team like Geelong last night, now going to top of the table, albeit you've risen on the ladder, but do you see that gap between the top 4 or 5 as a fair mark between, say, the bottom sort of 10 to 12 teams?
Yes and no. I think that's a fair statement. But you also see, you know, there's some upsets every week. So I think everyone or anyone on any given day is capable. What you're seeing with the top teams is consistent approach with the physical nature and the work rate. So yeah, we went to the game and had a look, and that was probably what impressed us as a coaching group: their work rate and their contest work. So the top teams are doing that every week, and they're very consistent and reliable on that.
What if it's wet, Adam?
It's wet.
But freezing conditions.
We just don't want, and I'm sure Longy's saying the same. The wet weather stuff, you just don't want to be judged on whether it's going to be wet or dry, whether you're going to win or not. So that really shouldn't come into play. But you know, the facts are the facts. You know, we haven't performed as well in wet conditions. We don't get them a lot over here, but that shouldn't be an excuse.
Is Tim Kelly okay? He seemed to grab his knee at training and left early.
Yeah, well, 6-day break, so we had to name a squad, but we're training today, so we've got to see how everyone gets through. So, you know, unfortunately, the bang for buck we're looking for when we had all our players available, we didn't get, and now we may be back to the cycle of a few come in and a few go out. So, we'll judge him today.
Was Hutch in the conversation to come in this week?
Yeah, he's in the squad, so he'll be up for conversation. So finding the balance of rewarding form and then also elevating some youth as well. So with Connor, so we're working through that, and then where do we fit them when they come in?
You lose Tom for a couple of weeks now. Like you said, the revolving door of injuries. Is it becoming a bit frustrating?
Yeah, it is. I mean, every club goes through it. We seem to have copped our fair whack this year. But like I said, we had full complement a couple of weeks ago. So, you know, it does provide opportunity. And one thing we did see earlier in the year with players who perhaps weren't in our perceived best 22, they really took their chances and they played with great spirit. So we're looking for that opportunity again. I mean, Harry Edwards will come in and he's AFL ready, I think. So he comes in, he's exciting along with Connor, and, you know, we'll see how we go with the other kids.
His ankle, how's that tracking? Is he all good to go?
Yeah, here's another one I've got to look at today. So, like I said, 6-day break, we can't train too hard. We went pretty hard last week, so we're just got to manage our way through this week and concentrate on what's important. But he should be out there.
So there's definite doubt over both of those two prime movers.
I think it's doubt. It's just there are more decisions that you got to make later in the week. I mean, every week there's probably 4 or 5 you got to see them train and see how they pull up and recover. So we're probably a day early to start talking about that. So normally we talk after main training. So I think they're all more likely.
So what about McGovern? Is he just underdone, or is he carrying? He looks sore toward the end of just about every week.
No, I'm sure he's the first to say he's fine. So, you know, he's busy down there. There's a bit of supply. So, yep, he's working through what the rest of us are working through, trying to get his best version every week.
When will you fly? And how many do you take?
I think fly tomorrow, and we'll take probably one extra emergency. So, like I said, we'll get through training. It's Nick's 200th this week, so a lot of guys are trying to put their hand up and you know, play for the big fella. So, yeah, we'll make that call this afternoon.
What's special about him?
Nick, Not many players get to 200 games of 2 knee reconstructions. So his resilience over the journey is something that I think everyone's admired. And to go down in what was a really great year for the football club, there's a lot of empathy for that. And the other part, football just hasn't defined him. He's his own man. So he's not judged by, obviously he's a great player, but I don't think we judge him off that. It's who he is as a person. I think to get through that personality and be such a big presence in the AFL landscape, but still be yourself, that's something that's, I admire that.
How does he compare as a player to the Nick Naitanui you saw when you first arrived?
Well, obviously he's not as athletic with the knees, so it's, you just wonder what would have happened if he had got through unscathed. But he's a smart ruckman. It's probably the thing he's evolved. He started off being just, where do you want it? And I'll just jump and hit it wherever I want. To now he's got a lot more craft. So he's one of the most intelligent ruckmen I've come across. And that combined with his athleticism he still has, and that's why we see what we see most weeks.
He's obviously got that natural talent, but what do you see as far as his work rate and what time he puts into honing that craft?
Yeah, well, it's the ruck craft is the main stuff, and he gets hunted every week, obviously. So his ability to find out strengths and weaknesses of opposition, and doesn't get it right all the time, but he, for the most part, is very well prepared in the ruck stuff. And obviously, we love him on the ground longer, but we just lose that power and burst around the ball. So we've been managing his time for a couple of years now, which has been unfortunate because it is based around his body. There's a certain amount his body can take. So we're trying to squeeze the rag with him, but we still think there's some good footy left.
And his contribution, I guess, to the spirit of this group, how important is he in that regard? Yeah,
well, like I said, because he's so authentic and such a big presence. I don't know how you do both. He's managed to find a way to just to be himself, and you just put yourself in his shoes for one day and see what it's like walking down the street and how you carry yourself and how kind he is to people. So that's something that resonates with the group. So the spirit's, he's right up there.
You were midfield coach at Hawthorn in 2013, so you would have actually coached against him. What was he like to have to plan?
I think you could get third man up back then, so it was stick a knee in his ribs. That was the main plan. And centre bounce, just hold on. You could get players behind the play as well. So
do you, as a coach, do you notice what they're doing to try and nullify him much? And sort of, did they go to greater extremes, do you think, to nullify him than they would other ruckmen, the opposite?
Oh, no doubt. Yep. Doesn't work too often, but he definitely, there's a strategy against Nick that everyone has that's different every week that he seems to work through really well. So, that won't change.
And how many more years do you reckon?
I don't know. No, it doesn't look like he's dropping away too much. Best and fairest last year. He's been one of our better players this year. So, I haven't seen him slow up yet.